I never missed a single daily test or a GT that was going on in PPG, and I have solved nearly 15,000 questions already from the Q bank of PPG. You have to practice a lot of questions, and in that context, PPG comes to save the lives of us. I must say, no, in no other platform the GT simulated this much similar to NEET PG. No other platform's GT was in par with NEET PG. Because if you are using pre-PG, you will always be knowing, okay, these many clinical scenarios can be asked, and you can definitely solve that. You need not worry about it. I have found certain questions this year also in the INICET mail. Certain questions were from directly from, like, just like pre-PG questions. Use this gem, that is the pre-PG app.
Hi, Dr. Midhusha Jain. Congratulations on securing All India Rank 97 in NEET PG 2022. Tell us about your experience when you got to hear about this result.
Okay, so exam went pretty much well for me, but I was anxious whether I marked the right answers or not. So I was looking for the recalls. So from one or two recalls, I was getting more or less the same marks as I calculated, but the rank was quite surprising this time. So I could not believe myself. So I checked many times. I seeked help of my friends also. And then only I finalized. I was so happy.
Okay. So were you expecting like before even you
Um,
went for the exam?
Before exam, never. I just wanted a pretty much a decent rank to get a good branch in my dream college. But this came a very great surprise for me.
Okay. All right. That's wonderful. So tell us about your journey so far, how you
Okay,
started the preparation.
so I would like to introduce myself. So I am from 2015 batch. I completed my MBBS from Government Medical College, Kozhikode in Kerala. So I completed my internship in last year, that is 2021, just before the last meet in August.
Okay.
So I could not prepare much for the last meet. Still, I managed somehow to get a rank of 13K in the last meet. Then after that, I started seriously preparing for this year's exam. So my video source was not pre-PG. I subscribed to some other app for the video, and I made the notes from that platform. I made all the 19 sets of notes from there. So that was my first step into the preparation. Then the November INICET came in its way. Then I gave it, and I got a rank of 5,000. Then again, I started seriously reading my notes, solving questions, reading notes. This went on like a cycle, and it's just like this. Then the May INICET and NEET happened. And my INICET rank was also 773, and NEET rank is 97.
Okay.
Um, so I would like to share how I reached into pre-PG app. So right after my internship, I was always making notes, and I was doing some questions from some platforms here and there, but I didn't know how to really go about it. Then I came to know about the PG app from my friends, because in our college, during the PG entrance preparation, this app is widely used. I can't emphasize its importance. I don't know, everyone or actually uses it for preparation, especially for practicing questions. So I came to know about pre-PG from my friends, and I started using it. When I first opened the app, there was some daily test going on. I remember it was some pediatrics daily test. I attempted it. I found it very simulating the last minute paper. So I was excited. Okay, something like this is going on. So if I can stick to this and make it a routine of mine, I can really succeed. So that's why I got into a pre-PG app. Then
Okay.
after that, I never missed a single daily test or a GT that was going on in PPG, and I have solved nearly 15,000 questions already from the Q bank of PPG.
Okay. All right. Since we are doing this conversation, for the future batch and like students have doubts regarding like, how to prepare. So can you break down your preparation in chunks where like how the initial part of it, like, going through books, notes, making, and that happened, and then how you move to the Q bank or solving questions?
So initially, I was not doing questions at all. I was focused in preparing notes. So I had all my notes handwritten by me, not any printed notes. So I had that. Then I started reading notes and started doing questions. So initial step is always, if you are preparing for any entrance exam, the first step is to make the concise notes from whichever platform you prefer. Um, it should be very concise, otherwise the revisions can get very cumbersome procedure in later on. So always
Okay.
do make concise notes from the beginning itself. And this exam is not only about your theory knowledge or your what you have gained so far in your MBBS days. It is also checking your skill, how to apply the knowledge that you have. So for that, you have to practice a lot of questions. And in that context, PPG comes to save the lives of us.
Okay. Okay. Right. So as you mentioned that you did not miss any single test, right, on pre-PG.
No, I never.
So how was your experience of the test versus the exam? Like, how did you feel in the real exam?
Okay, talking about the daily tests, we have around 50 questions every day. So I made it a point that I will revise that subjects in that particular day itself, so that I will give the test in the night and I can assess myself how well I read the subjects and all. So I made the timetable, the schedule according to the schedule of pre-PG only. So I was revising my subjects as per the daily test schedule of pre-PG, so that I could complete one whole cycle of revision in less than 2 weeks. That was the main advantage. In that way, I could complete a number of revisions, more than I ever imagined. So that
Oh,
was a strategy that I made. Then coming up to talk about GTs, I gave every GT. Every Sunday was my GT day, so I was giving the GTs every Sunday. I must say, no, in no other platform the GT simulated this much similar to NEET PG. Actually, the questions were very much similar. When I was writing my exam, I felt like, okay, it's just I don't know how it happened, but I just felt it. Okay, I'm giving some GT or pre-PG this time also. I never felt like okay, I'm giving NEET PG. That feeling never sought into my mind. Maybe because I have sold a lot of number of GTs from pre-PG. Every week I will sold one GT. So that was mine. I
so
never felt no other platform's GT was in par with NEET PG.
that's wonderful. We hear that from a lot of students. Like, can you break down like how was the experience of clinical questions? Because that's something which we always talk about in terms of NEET PG, right? So how was your experience on the app versus the exam?
Okay, these days, clinical questions form a major part of our paper, whether it is INICET or NEET. You should have the basic knowledge from your MBBS days, especially from the internship, because we see a lot of things, we learn a lot of things from our patients, and everything comes as a question these days. So I felt it happy in that way that most of the questions, most of the scenarios I have seen myself in during my internship. So that was very helpful. And even if you are lacking that clinical knowledge, you need not worry because all these scenarios have been put forward in different questions by pre-PG. So you're already familiarized with all these situations, clinical questions, long stem questions, short questions, everything is there. It's just a mixed Q band actually. So everything is there. The clinical questions are also so many number present in every daily test of us and every GT. There was so many clinical questions. You need not worry so much about that because if you are using pre-PG, you will always be knowing, okay, these many clinical scenarios can be asked and you can definitely solve that. You need not
Okay.
worry about it at all.
All right. So talking more about preparation, being such a vast syllabus, right? Like 20 subjects. So how are you managing? See, this is just to, help the next batch of student to understand, like, how such a vast syllabus with so many subjects can be, managed. So what was your take?
Yeah, this entrance is not just testing our whole of our knowledge in 19 subjects. You need not master every 19 subject. You have to be a jack of everything, I think, and master of none. But you should know the basic things. That is, actually, the topics are quite similar every year. They are testing different ways. Same topics are being tested in different ways. Be it in any subject. So you have to be very, very precise and very concise about what to read. You have to funnel down the things to the topics. It should be funneled down, especially towards the last 2 to 3 months of your preparation. Because first read, I used to read from page one of my notebook. I took a lot of time also, but that is necessary. At least once you should have read that. But towards the last, I have funneled down the topics and I had very few concise material to read. So in that way, I could revise the subjects in very less time. And every subsequent revisions, the time should definitely come down. Then only your revision will be very effective, I think.
Okay, so this concise notes or this concise material was you developed it based on the recent exams?
Yeah, only about the past 4 or 5 papers of INICET and NEET. More or less, the topics are almost the same in both exams. I have found certain questions this year also in INICET NEET. Certain questions were from directly from like just like pre-PG questions. I have seen them in pre-PG app. There were questions in micro. I have seen that in our app also. There were
Okay,
questions directly from.
all right. And how are you, like, was there any feature on Prepeach that you were using more, or you were looking at, for example, Prep DNA or something like that?
Okay, prep DNA is just like a great source of motivation actually, because most of the days you will feel so bored about studying again and again, revising the same things again and again. You will get bored for sure. So I will just open the app and I will look at my prep DNA. So it will be like full green. It will be some turning into green, some will be yellow, some will be very green. So seeing that it somehow gave me a motivation always, and the rank index part also. It will be the graph will be going up and the rank index will be improving, and that
Mhm.
gives a sense of motivation for you. Without any other person, you yourself can get motivated with this app. And luckily, my rank index was also 97. My rank is also 97 this time. I don't.
Oh, that's a big coincidence. Yeah. So, like breaking it down further, if there is were you having anything in orange or yellow in the beginning?
In
Mhm.
beginning, a
Yeah.
lot of subjects were in orange, some were in yellow. But
Okay.
towards the last, most of the subjects had turned
Mhm.
to green.
Okay. So how was the journey of, turning that from yellow to, green, or from orange to yellow to green? Because that's the place where, most of the students get stuck, and they tend to do many questions, but still the prep DNA is stuck. So is there a way you approach that problem?
I didn't focus it like I didn't bother it much because I was giving daily tests continuously. I was giving GPs continuously. And when I was learning a subject, I used to solve the Q bank of that subject. Uh, Sometimes even without any topic wise, I was just solving questions. All subjects workout is also available. I was doing that also. So a cumulative effort brings your prep DNA into green. I
Okay.
believe so because I didn't particularly give any attention to any particular subjects and all.
All right.
And I think one more feature that I loved about the app was revision. Because in no other app, when you do questions, they will come and make you remember, okay, you made this question wrong last day. This feature is like a very, very important thing. The key is to revise your mistakes and make it your strong point. So pre-PG brings you that, okay, you made these questions wrong. You have to make it correct again this time. They will make you remember, okay, you made it wrong again.
Yes, yes, we
That
do
is
that.
very useful. Every day,
Yeah.
that was a routine of mine. I will do the daily test. I will do the revision of the previous day's questions also.
The daily revision feature that
Initially,
you
there
have.
will be so many questions to revise, but towards the last, I had very few questions to revise.
Okay, okay. Yeah, that's wonderful that you talked about it. It's one of the most powerful tool. Uh, Also, another thing that a lot of users talk about is like they lack motivation at times, when preparing for NEET PG. So something like that happened to you? How did you
That
manage?
happens, I think, because most of the times the journey is very long and you have a lot of time to read, you have a lot of syllabus to read. That happens mostly because of that. But in our case, there were very less time, approximately 8 or 9 months for preparation, not even 1 year was there. So there was no place for getting bored and losing the motivation in between. That thing never happened, just like what happened with our seniors, because the exam was got postponed many times. So that never happened with me, at least this time.
Okay, okay. And what was your daily schedule like in this, last 9, 10 months of preparation?
I'm a person who can't stick to a timetable much, so I used to just wake up and start reading notes according to what is the daily test that is happening in pre-PG that day. So I just try to, you can't finish the subject in one day, I know, but I used to read the most important stuff from every part of that subject in that day. And I used to give the pre-PG GT later on in the night so that I can conclude my reading by giving that test. And in between, whenever I get bored or when I'm feeling like not reading anything, I used to read questions. So reading notes and doing questions went hand in hand. And my daily test was planned more towards the night time. I used to do that. And
Mhm.
in Sundays, my schedule was more or less around the GT. So I would give the GT and then review the wrong questions and just move on, just continue with the backlogs that I have in that week. That was my schedule in most of the time.
Wonderful, wonderful. Yeah, sticking to everyone has a different schedule, but sticking to it, doing the continuous effort is something that pays off. Great. Any concluding remarks for the upcoming batch, like how they should plan out some of these things? Obviously, everyone has different uh, study schedule and plan, but some of the most important things.
Okay, you should have a clear vision that okay, you are going to crack this exam in this attempt itself. So you have to give that time and you have to sit for that without any distractions in between. So you sit for that and then plan accordingly. You should have the notes from one source, whichever source you trust, and you should also practice questions. For that, you can use this gem that is the pre-PG app. There are a lot of questions. Every type of questions are available, and previous year questions are also given great emphasis here. So you can plan accordingly, but practice and reading notes, these are the key things, and also revision
Yeah.
that can help you fetch the rank that you dreamt of, and you can succeed definitely. All
All
the
right.
best.
Great, great, great. Thanks a lot, Dr. Midhusha. We're really happy for you. PPG is really happy for your success.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you. And one more thing I want to say that
Yeah.
the discussion session of pre-PG, that is also an attractive feature because um, I think no other app hears the students in the manner PPG hears. Because every time when we say something about the questions or about the GTs, the one of the PPG admins will say, will talk to the students, will make necessary changes next time. So that happens in PPG discussion session. And close to the exam, it was a great stress buster for me because whenever I go there, some students will be sharing their worries and more number of students will be coming to console them to say, okay, everyone are in the same boat, something like that. So it was also a great source of motivation, especially towards the last days when everyone gets stressed, irrespective of their preparation, everyone will be stressed, and you can completely uh, rely on the discussion session for that. I was not an active participant in the discussion, but I was passively looking at
Yeah.
that, and I was finding my motivation and from there.
Yes, yes.
especially in the last years. Everything is getting cleared, irrespective of your worries, your academic doubts, anything and everything can be
Yes.
asked, and you
And
will
we
get a
saw
solution from there.
and we saw users, motivating each other as well, those who were not
Yeah.
feeling good. Yeah. Yeah. All right, Dr. Midhusha. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for your time. Yeah.
Thank you so much, and
Thanks.
all the best for the
Thanks.
future.